This was a psalm that would be recited by pilgrims as they went up to Jerusalem, and they would literally go through valleys that were dark, and that's where like robbers would be, or there was the most danger. And I think there are times in history where we say, this feels like a dark place.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
This feels like a valley
Yes.
that we are walking through as humanity. And so I think that is beautiful too, that it says, I will fear no evil, even in those dark places.
That's beautiful. Welcome to More Than Small Talk. We're Susie Eller,
Jennifer Watson,
and Holly Girth, writers and real life friends. We're inviting you to go deeper, become freer, and feel more connected.
So imagine you have a cup of coffee, a mug of tea, or a green smoothie in your hand,
and we're all hanging out in your favorite place together.
Hey, More Than Small Talk friends, we're glad you're with us, and we hope if you haven't listened to the last couple of episodes that you will go back. We talked about the character of God with two guests, and then we talked about being trauma aware with Eliza Huey, and both of those had the theme of God caring for us. And so we wanted to revisit probably one of the most beloved works in Scripture, which is Psalm 23. I think many of us grew up hearing it, and we just want to look at it from a fresh perspective. I feel like we need comfort right now. We need a shepherd. We need to know someone is going to take care of us in our crazy, chaotic world. And so we are going to talk about how God is the shepherd of our soul. So before we jump into the conversation, I'm going to pause and read the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Yeah, so we were sitting at Tacos for Life, and it was loud and a little bit chaotic. And I recognized that I had said the word soothing maybe 20 times in our conversation. And Holly graciously, I think, brought up this topic that felt soothing in the moment. So the question that I have today, the confession question, is in what way has Jesus, and this is kind of a complicated question, but I think it's a good one. In what ways has Jesus been a good shepherd to you?
I mean, the consistency of his presence. I don't know. I've just felt him walking with me in the trenches, whether it was the valley or, the pit, that he's never left me, Yeah. And so I think just knowing that I'm never, ever going to be alone, that he's with me, even when I can't feel him, I know he's with me.
Sure. So I'm going to be pretty vulnerable here. When I walked away from our time together last, and I realized that I had said that word 20 times, that maybe I haven't been allowing God to be a good shepherd to me, that I have been in a place of chaos and uncertainty and cynicism. And I love Jesus with all my heart. But I got in the car and started bawling after our conversation because I thought, okay, I'm clearly putting out signals to myself and signals to my friends that this has just been this world that we're living in right now is it's just not, it doesn't feel safe. And I am just this confident, faith-filled warrior of a woman, and yet I think if I'm feeling this way, that I'm not alone. And so I would say that I have not been allowing him to be a shepherd to me, is what I would say.
Yeah. And I think most of us are there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think about the setting of a shepherd is that there are a lot of threats around the sheep. If there was no danger, if there was no possibility that they would get hurt or
Yeah.
that there would be enemies or there would be difficult circumstances, they don't need a shepherd. Just stick them out in the field and call it good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact, the empath in me is on fire.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm not so much worried about this sheep. I should be. That's why I bawled,
Mhm.
because my eyes have been on the other sheep.
Yeah.
And I've been worried about them. I've been worried about the vulnerable, those in the margins. I've been worried about all the things that are going on in our world that seem so cruel and unjust, that the empath in me is just on fire.
Yeah. So what do you think about that, Suze? How does that relate to this conversation?
I think it relates because what caused me to understand why this conversation was so needed is when you talked about the still waters. So can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah. So I'll say the words, even though most of us probably know them, but it says, He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. And that I go down weird rabbit holes of research. I read a bunch of things from modern day shepherds to say, what does this actually mean? And it turns out sheep do not like to drink from rushing waters. Like they even, I think, won't do it. And so the shepherd has to lead them to still waters so that they can drink. And I thought that was just a beautiful picture of what Jesus does for us.
Yeah. So what I realized driving home is that I have been drinking from the rushing waters.
Yes. Yes.
And I need the shepherd to direct me to the still waters.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm picturing literally a social media feed. I mean, it feels like rushing waters. Like there's so much information. It's
So
just
much
rushing
news,
past,
so
rushing
much.
past, rushing past.
Mm-hmm.
So the still waters, what would that be? Sitting in the presence of Jesus and
Well, for me is understanding that I can take in only so much harsh news every single day.
Yeah.
And by not taking it in doesn't mean I don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I do.
Yeah.
It also means that asking God what my part to play is and releasing the rest.
Yeah.
And so that it's funny how you're sitting around just eating tacos.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the Lord is, the Holy Spirit, because of good friends that are having conversations. And then you're hearing yourself in your own ears and you realize, okay, I am not in the best spot. And yet I don't have to stay here. So God, what is it that I need to do to be led to still waters? And so that's just something I'm really asking God right now.
That's good. I'm thinking about how Jesus said is, if anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink.
Yes.
So he is the still water.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only consistent thing, really, the only true security that we have in this world.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that some of us are not created or made to rush. But my daughter was really, so I think of the rushing waters and I think rush to the next thing and the hurry, hurry, hurry and the hustle culture, all of that. When my daughter was really small, I was like, I need you to hustle. We've got to get things done. And so, she's 4 or 5 and she goes, I don't love to hustle. And I was like, she still doesn't love to hustle. She has one pace. Like she starts out slow and then she tapers off from there. She doesn't like to be rushed. And that is like, my heart is, peaceful. And so I wasn't meant to drink from rushing waters, but I sure do it,
Right.
So I just think knowing that about yourself, knowing, okay, I need some chill because I don't love to hustle. I don't like the grind. I don't like the social media feed. I don't like any of that, because it impacts me,
Hey, friends, we hope you're enjoying this conversation about the 23rd Psalm. And if you have the Bible app, it looks like a little Bible icon on your phone. It's also called YouVersion. I would love for you to join me there. I publish free devotional plans on the app, including a new one that is very similar to this conversation called Shepherd of Her Soul. So go to your Bible app, type in my name, Holly Girth, and you'll find all kinds of free plans that you can enjoy. You can also follow me on the app so that you'll hear about every new plan that comes out. Now back to our conversation.
Yeah, and Holly, you were also talking about the rod and staff. It was a very impactful taco conversation.
Very impactful.
Yes. So another phrase from Psalm 23 is your rod and your staff, they comfort me, which seems weird. Like, how would a rod and staff
Because we think
sheep?
of those as like
Discipline
weapons
or
or
correction.
discipline.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the rod was protection from external threats.
Yeah.
So if a wolf or a lion, someone came after the sheep, the shepherd would use the rod as protection.
Yeah.
So he's not using it against the sheep. He's using it to defend them.
Yeah.
And then the staff we probably have seen, has a crook on the end. And I read this quote from the shepherd that he said, "My sheep get into the most preposterous dilemmas." And he said, "I've seen them climb down rocky cliffs for one mouthful of grass and fall into the sea.
Yeah.
And the only way that I can get them out is to reach down with my staff and pull them up to me again." And I was like, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
It sounds about like
us.
me. Like I'm thinking, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think I'll do that. And Jesus is like, okay, I'm going to come get you. And so I think that's beautiful too, to know that it's not about correction or I'm mad at you or you're in trouble, sheep. It's about I'm going to protect you and I'm going to rescue you.
Yes.
Those are the two promises of the rod and the staff.
Yeah. And in fact, I saw a meme one time, and there was this sheep that was completely stuck in this crevice deep. I mean, and all of these shepherds were doing that, exactly that, trying to get him out. And they got him out, and he was so exuberant that he just started leaping around, and then he slid down and went right back into the crevice. And I think there's times that for me is that when I am reading one more news report or one more Substack or one more, because I too am a researcher, I love information, I love to study deep, but there's times I feel like that here comes that staff or that rod, and it's like, I'm going to pull you out of that, Suze, because you just jumped right back in when you're talking to me and saying, all right, Lord, help me to be a person who reflects you, who acts and speaks in love and integrity. But then I'm feeding my brain and my mind with all of these things that's setting it on fire. And here's the shepherd going, get out of there, you know?
Yeah. And another phrase related to that is the one we said earlier is he makes me lay down in green pastures.
Yes.
And sheep won't lay down when they're afraid, which I think is so interesting. And so sheep have to feel safe or they will not rest. They'll just stay in there and exhaust themselves.
That's so stinking
Oh
deep.
my goodness. That is so like, does that sound like me or does it sound like
I'm watching our producer, Karen. She's like, oh.
Yep, pretty much.
We all understand that. That's powerful.
Yeah. So his invitation is, I'm going to help you not be afraid so that you can rest.
Yeah.
And the shepherd also said that the place to look for a sheep that is sick or injured is not separate from the flock like you would see. It's a sheep who's in the middle of all the other sheep pretending to be fine.
Okay.
He said, that's what I look for.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, I feel called out. I'm like, Karen's like going, she's like, oh, that's me.
Yeah. So what about you? Said, oh my goodness, what do you resonate with?
Like being completely wounded and be like, I'm fine. Is it, how are you guys doing? Right in the middle, like, how can I take care of someone else? And then I'm like bleeding on the inside or whatever, because I think there's times that we pretend, because we don't want to be a bother or a burden. How terrible would that be? But I know my people want to know,
Yeah.
but we're in the middle of it just acting like we're fine.
Yeah. The other day, I just kind of slid. I haven't prayed on my knees in a long time. I talk to God all the time. I'm usually tucked on a couch and cozy with a book and my Bible, but I just slid beside my bed, laid my head on my bed, and I just began to sing that old song. Oh God, I need you. Oh, how I need you. And I feel like that's a call to the shepherd, but it's also an acknowledgement of the strength and the foundation that we find when we just pause and we don't have any words. I'm singing an old song that's like 100 years old, and I don't carry a tune very well, but I know that in that moment, it was just saying, lead me to still waters, lead me to green grass, because you are the only one that can do this. And for our listeners, and I love you so much, it's like, oh no, Susie losing it. I'm really not. I'm just very aware of my need for God right now.
Yeah.
Very, very aware that I desperately need to be in sync with Him in a world that is not in sync.
Yeah. And that there are hard, scary places that we go through as humanity. I mean, another phrase is, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah.
And that was because this was a psalm that would be recited by pilgrims as they went up to Jerusalem, and they would literally go through valleys that were dark, and that's where like robbers would be, or there was the most danger. And I think there are times in history where we say, this feels like a dark place.
It does.
Yeah.
This feels like a valley that we are walking through as humanity. And so I think that is beautiful too, that it says, I will fear no evil, even in those dark places.
That's beautiful. So if we're in that place, I mean, is there one teeny tiny thing that we can do? And I know this is not on us, but is there one teeny tiny thing we can do to allow the shepherd to be the shepherd in our life?
Just thinking, when you were saying, that you're needy for Him, like letting yourself be needy.
Yeah.
Like we're supposed to.
Yes.
We're supposed to need Him. We're not so, we want to be independent and self-sufficient, but like sometimes we're just not. And that should be okay.
Yeah.
We're meant to be needy of Him.
Yeah, I think sheep instinctively see weakness as a threat.
Yeah.
Because they are vulnerable animals. Like, what's a sheep going to do to you?
Yeah, seriously, nothing.
Really?
That's my spirit animal. Yeah.
So, yeah, recognizing like I need a shepherd, and that is not a failure on my part.
Sure.
The fact that I am a human who is weak and vulnerable and falls into the crevice and wanders off and does all these things does not lessen my belovedness. We've used that word a lot.
Yeah.
But in those times, the shepherd would lay down his life for the sheep. He would, I even read sometimes they would put the sheep in pens.
Yeah.
And the shepherd would sleep where the gate would be.
I love that.
Like it'd say, if you are going after my sheep, you're going to have to go through me.
Yeah.
Like that's how beloved we are. And so I think returning to that for me in this season, just returning to my belovedness over and over and over again.
Yeah.
To pause, I'll say, okay, I've lost connection with my belovedness. And we're saying sheep. And the reality is there's this beautiful progression of intimacy in scripture where we're the clay and he's the potter. Then we're the sheep and he's the shepherd. Then we're the servant and he's the master. And then we are the bride and he is the bridegroom. And so we are sheep, but we are also so much more to him than that. And so that progression of deeper and deeper intimacy that is rooted in belovedness, I think is really comforting to say we are sheep, but we're not just sheep.
Yeah.
We are not only sheep, we are his beloved, and he's promised whatever we face, he's going to go through it with us.
Yeah. My son was hit by a drunk driver when he was 15 and severely injured and in the hospital for 6 weeks. And so every night what I would do as a young mama, I was actually in my 30s, which is crazy, but there was a small cot that we would drag in, and every single night I would unfold that cot and I would sleep right next to Ryan's bed. And I did that for 6 weeks, every single night. And that's not the heart of this story, though, because one night my sister came and she walked into the room, and I'm on a single cot that is like as hard as anything can be. And I felt somebody slide in behind me and wrap her arms around me. And we slept that way all night with my sister's arms around me. As I was being protective of Ryan, she was being protective of her sister. And I think of that when we talk about this shepherd who's at the gate, is that maybe we're struggling because we're trying to be protective over everybody else that we love. And here comes the shepherd. Well, if you're laying at the gate, I'm laying at the gate with you. And you're not alone in that.
Yeah. So good.
So thankful. So if you're listening right now and you're like me, just so determined to do it on your own, and you realize that you can't. I should have realized, well, I'm going to drop the should, because Holly says that when we say should, we're shoulding on ourselves. Please understand what I'm saying. But if you're like me and you're doing that, what I realized is that we're never intended to do this on our own, ever. That we do have a shepherd who leads us to still waters, who leads us to grass, who has a rod and a staff that protect us and comfort us. So I'm praying today for you, my sister, if you're in that place too, that you'll allow God to lead you to still waters, because he longs to. That's who he is. That's what he does.
And that's it for today's episode. Thanks for going deeper, becoming freer, and connecting with us. More Than Small Talk is a part of the KLRC Podcast Network and is produced by Kara Culver. Show notes and resources are available on the More Than Small Talk page on klrc.com. You can also join us in our Facebook group. Subscribe to More Than Small Talk on your favorite app so you won't ever miss an episode.